Everyone, welcome to the Blockstream webinar. Today we're talking about Sea Lightning Sea Lightning 9.2. We released got released last week. There weren't a whole bunch of like exciting new stuff in it, but I think one of the coolest things that we did is notifications for. So this is basically kind of a sort of like a low-level way that if you're writing a plugin or if there's a long-running command that Sea Lightning's doing, it's a way that we can have like your plugin or Sea Lightning send notifications back to the user so they kind of have an idea about like what progress is being made. Just so an example of like a long-running command is the close command. When it runs, there's it can take a long time to negotiate a close, and in some cases you end up falling to chain. So this was like a thing that we added. We got a lot of feedback that sometimes when you run Sea Lightning commands, like you don't really get any feedback about what it's doing. And this notifications framework basically will allow developers to or plugin writers to add notifications to stuff so that people kind of had an idea about what's going on. Cool. Okay, so I will go ahead and give kind of like what I'd like to do is give like a quick overview of how it works, kind of walk you through seeing what it looks like on the command line. So the CLI that you normally use to interact with Sea Lightning now can understand them. Talk a little bit about what you have to do to set up your node such that it will do this for you. And then so after I go through like an intro, I'll see if there's any questions about it. And then I've got a small plugin that I've been writing that does notifications. So we can kind of like walk through what writing a plugin and using this new notification stuff would look like. I guess before I get started, does anyone have any like quick questions, or does that seem unclear? Chat. Okay, cool. Then I will hop on in to this thing. Cool. Okay, so we're doing notifications. So I guess first I'll just do a quick demo so you kind of see what they look like. The easiest way to do that is using what's already been implemented. I think the only command that we've added them to so far for version 9.2 is the close command. So what I'm going to do is so if you're not familiar to like Sea Lightning, like dev stuff, there's this pretty cool little script that's called startup reg test. This basically gives you so you source it, which will add it to your bash like command line thing. And then that gives you basically like two commands. One's called start ln and the other's called stop ln. What this will do is this will start up a couple of nodes and a Bitcoin core all running on reg test and like so that they can talk to each other. So basically like you can see it says like L1 CLI, L2 CLI, and then BT is like the Bitcoin CLI. So now I've got two nodes running and a Bitcoin running all on reg test on my local computer. So I can kind of I can try things out or have them interact without really having to do a lot of setup work. Okay, so I've been playing with this before for a while, so I kind of just want to see. I'm going to generate some addresses. I'm just going to clear out kind of the history because I've been doing these. I've been messing with this a lot today. Should go away. Nope. Delete to wallet. Okay, that's going to take a while. Okay, cool. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and set up a channel so then I can close it. So I think what I'm going to have L1 do is connect to, so I'm going to have L, like the first node, connect to the second node. And then I'm going to have, I've got some debug statements printing, sorry. And then I'm going to have L1 fund a channel. So I'm going to fund a channel to that node. Hopefully this will work. Wow, this is really messy. I've got like, these are like debug things, but so those won't show up for you. But Okay, cool. So like connected, and then I can do generate to an address. So I generate to address, if you're not familiar with it, this is a Bitcoin CLI command that you can only use on Reg test. Basically, it allows you to mine a block. So when you fund a channel, you create a transaction that goes in the mempool. But until that gets added to the blockchain, you won't be able to like that channel won't be considered open. So anyways, that'll just make it so that our channel is list peers. So now when I do list peers, you can see that our channel with L2 is currently like funding normal, and the transaction's been locked. So that means that the funding transaction has been included in a block. While we're talking about like new stuff to 9.2, one of our contributors added these state changes to all of the in-list peers. So every peer that you have, you can see kind of the states that it walks through. So you can see that at this time, this channel with this peer, let me see if I can scroll up to the peer stuff. So this is our peer. You can see I'm on localhost. You can see what features the peer is offering. Yeah, so you can see there's been one state change. We moved from waiting lock-in, which means that, we started fund channel and broadcasted the funding transaction, and then the new state is channel denormal. That means that the funding transaction has been included in a block on the blockchain, and this channel should be operating normally, which means able to send payments. Okay, cool. But we're here to show off the new notification stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and in order to get the notifications to show up, I have to go ahead and stop the second node. So I'm going to say tell L2 to shut down. That should update on, I wonder if you can see that on here. Yeah, so now you'll see that the peer is no longer connected. So when we do list peers, we see that L2 is no longer connected, so it's false. Okay, so what happens if you try and close a channel if your peer is not connected? Close. So if you try and close it when your peer isn't connected, it will, I guess we can see I haven't done this in a while. It should just hang. It waits for your peer to come back online, or like waits a long time. But if you say like 10 at the end of this, that tells it how many seconds to wait before it goes ahead and I'm gonna put 20 in. Before it goes ahead and closes the channel. This is going to be really noisy because I've got a lot of debug statements on. Normally it would just be printing these things with the we call it the hashtag. This is so terrible. It's so terrible because I've got like all this debug stuff printing, so it's not really. Anyways, so what it's going to do is it prints out this new stuff. It's like, hey, your peer's offline. We're waiting 20 seconds, and then it says, hey, it's timed out. We're forcing a close. And let's just try that again so that you can see it without that stuff. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the nodes, restart them so that I have the new stuff without it. I'm gonna do generate to address like 100. So basically I'm resetting. I'm gonna redo it really fast so you guys can see it work without all my debug statements. So now if I start, it should be already started. Okay, that one's fine. So then, when you're starting up, we connect. Then we fund channel. Then we stop L2 stop, and then close. Okay, so this will do the same thing. I guess we'll do it for 5 seconds this time. Well, 10. Anyways, sorry. So these little messages that you're seeing here, these are the new notification thing. It seems pretty small, but it's like kind of cool. There's a test one that I can show you. So that's closed. So this is a new closed thing. Cool. Okay, so this is basically what I wanted to show is these comments that are coming back with the hashtag at the top. These are the new notification stuff. So prior to 9.2, you would just wait. It would just hang until 10 seconds expired, and then you would get this is the result that comes back. Now that notifications are on and I've got them enabled, you actually get little update status notifications. And there's actually, let me load. So I'm going to load a new plugin. So plugin start there's one of the test notifications that test plugins that Rusty wrote. I think it's notify.py. That should work. Okay, cool. And then, hang on, let me build this out. Test plugins, notify. Notify.py. Okay, so this is basically an example. This is just so I'm sorry, let me start over. One way that you as like a plugin developer could access this new feature is using our pile-in like the library that lets you write plugins, the pile-in client. They've added some new methods to the plugin structure called notify message here, and then another one that's called notify progress. So this is a test plugin that Rusty wrote to kind of showcase how this works for, so when we run our CI tests, we can check that it's working. But it's kind of cool, so I can show you how it works like here. So for those of you who aren't really familiar with plugin code, I can kind of explain what we're looking at here. Basically the way it works, so this plugin, we're adding a new method to C Lightning. The new method will be called make notify. All that this method does when you call it is it creates a bunch of notification messages. So it prints out a message that says it's beginning. It does some progress. So you can see a progress update what that looks like. Then it starts a new stage, and then it does progress, and then it ends. It returns as this worked at the end. So since I've loaded this, so that's what I did with start. Did I do start? Yeah. So if you've got a plugin that you want to add to an already running C Lightning, you can use plugin start. So that's what you did here. It's already registered. Cool. So now what that means is when I call CL1, when I call this, I now have this method here is now available for the method that I can call. Cool. And there it goes. Cool. So those are notifications. Basically, like I said, it's just a way of pushing back information to the client. Cool. Okay, so what I wanted to do is, well, this is going a lot faster than I thought it would. What I wanted to do is kind of walk through writing a plugin that takes advantage of this, using so we'd go out and try and connect to every node on the network and report back our progress as we did it. That's a really long running command. But because of the notifications, it'll let you kind of just keep people up to date with what's going on. But before we did that, if there's any questions, I don't see there's anything. Okay, cool. I will keep talking then. Great. Okay. So I'm going to start a new one. Let's call it connection test, connect and test pi. Cool. So I'm going to steal a bunch of stuff from this one because I really want to do what it's already doing. Cool. Let's call this Connectify. Connectify. Cool. Okay, so what I want to do with Connectify is first I want to find all the nodes on the network. That I want to filter out the ones I can't connect to. So this will be anything that, so just for I don't know, for giggle's sake, let's say I can only connect to IPv4 addresses. So they have to have IPv4, and let's make it so that they also are, what was the other thing I want to filter for? So they have to have IPv4, and then, yeah, okay. And then it can't be a loopback address. Can't be a loopback address, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, cool. So How do you find all the nodes on the network? Great question. We do nodes is going to be, so plugin has access to the RPC, and I think we just do list nodes. That'll get us all the nodes. It's like, actually here, let me log into this one. Yeah. So I've got a I have a testnet node up. So the plugin that we're going to write, you're really going to want to run it on a network that's got a bunch of nodes already. Otherwise, it's not going to be that exciting. So if I do list nodes and just, this is really big, so I'm just going to do like the last whatever of it. List nodes, tail 100. So basically, when you run list nodes, you get back a list of all the nodes on the network, and it also includes their IP address information. So what I want to do is I'm going to filter out, and like, so this one doesn't have any addresses. We can't connect to them, so that's not very useful. Most of these are IPv4. So what I'd like to do in Python, at least, is get a list of all these nodes. Oh, I forgot to do. And then why am I doing the 10? Right. So you can see when it returns, it's got this like dictionary that's nodes and then the array. For the sake of this script, all I want is the nodes. So I'm peeling off basically the outer table or hash dict, whatever you call it, the dict. Okay, cool. Great. So we have all these nodes. Now what I want to do is I want to go through and I want to filter out the ones that I can't connect to. So for example, if you look down here, you'll notice this first node in the list that gets returned, there's no addresses. So that's not really useful. So I think I can write a, let's do, so first thing is I want it to, they have to have addresses. So it has to have addresses. And then inside that addresses block, it needs to have IPv4. So in nodes IPv4, I can use a list comprehension. So I want the node for node in nodes if node for nodes in nodes if so we have a node. So we have to check that it's got addresses in node and node addresses. Okay, cool. And then I also need node for node nodes if addresses and node addresses. Basically, like I need something that's like has IPv4 in here. I can do this using another kind of fancy list comprehension, which I will write down here and then move it up. So so basically what I want to do, so these addresses are like a list, right? And we want to filter on the type. So a quick way you can do that is we can build a list of like every address and the type. I can show this in Python. This is, okay, so if we've got like, so sorry, I know maybe this is like whatever, I think this is kind of fun, I'm gonna keep going. So if you've got like a list of like stuff and it is let's see, we've got let's see, type is A and oh gosh, sorry, type is B, exactly. And we want to figure out if this like list has type A in it, right? An easy way to do that would be for basically you do entry. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a list of the for entry in stuff. So basically what this will do is it'll create a list of all the types that exist in stuff. Like that. So that's a way you can kind of extract the A and B out of like this list. So we kind of want to do something similar up here. So what we're going to do is for, I don't know, for address, for X, adder type for adder and node addresses. I should really be doing this somewhere else. That's okay. Okay, so this will get me like a list of, this will get me a similar thing, right? This will give me like a list of like, give me a list of what, like IPv4, and then there's also IPv6 is another thing, and then there's also like 4.3 or v3. I can't remember if there's a v. There's probably a v in there. Anyways, so this will give me a list like that, depending on what's available in each address struct, right? And then what I really want is if I want to know if IPv4 is in this list that I'm going to create, right? So basically this will be like A in, is that right? Yeah, that's right. So if A in that, it would be true, right? So that's basically what this will do. And okay, so I need to kind of mash these together. So node for node and nodes, if addresses in node and IPv4 in. Cool. Okay, cool. So that should do what I want. I need one more of those. There's no like really easy way to test this, and the reason for that is that these like local things that I'm doing aren't super great. What does that mean? So I'm running like the L1 CLI stuff that we've got here won't have anything in list nodes, I don't think, which is kind of a problem for testing this. Yeah. Trying to decide if I can, yeah, I can go ahead and do like a small one. That'll make this easier to test. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop ln. I'm going to restart it, but you can pass this in an extra parameter so that you can like create more nodes. So let's like make 3 nodes instead. So now there's like 3. So now there's an L3 CLI that we can get info on. What I want to do, so I need to fund these things. Sorry, this is like, so I need to fund these nodes so they can create channels and then give them some time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create like a little network here using regtest, and that'll let me test this code that I'm writing. But first I have to get them funded and connected. And so we can do that really quickly with some new addresses. So let's see, L1 should have money, right? Is it send to withdrawal? I think we do withdrawal. I don't actually ever use withdrawal. How does withdrawal work? Wow. Let's send it here and let's send, I don't know, 0.03 Bitcoin. Does that work? Nope. 253 per kilowatt. Could not afford it. Oh no, we don't have enough money. CLI new order. The other like cheating way to get money is to like generate more blocks. So I will send money to CLI, and then you have to, I think they have to be buried like 100 before they show up in your wallet because of the way Coinbases work. So I'm gonna generate to a non, just like this address is like doesn't belong to anything. So now I can see how much money we have in here. That looks like a lot of money. That's some money. Okay, we should have plenty of money now, I think. All right, are these reserved? No. Okay, so we have plenty of money now. Cool. Okay, sorry, this is like totally a sidebar, but withdraw. Okay, so I'm gonna retry withdrawing it. Okay, cool. That goes to L3. I also want to see to I also want to send money to we need a new address from them. So I will have L1 send them some money. Draw to here. I don't know. Let's send them a whole Bitcoin. See if that works. And then I have to cool. Oh, I gotta add they want to know that this is BTC. Okay. All right, cool. So now in theory, I've sent money to them, but they won't have it until we mine a block just because that's how Bitcoin works. So transactions have been added to the mempool, which we can see with like, I think, is it get mempool? Help grab mempool. I don't know. This is kind of fun. BT CLI get mempool entry. mempool info. Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's 3 transactions in there. That's fun. Okay. Um, okay, so retail CLI. All right, so they have money, but I haven't generated it because they're still in the block pool. So I need to generate a new address. We'll just do 1. That should clean out our block, our mempool, which we can check. It's empty. Cool. So L1 CLI. So now I should have funds in this wallet. And so you can see there's money in here now. L3 will also have money in the wallet. Cool. They've also got money. Okay, so I want to set up a channel between L1 and I'm just going to set up a channel between like, all you really need is a couple channels that are like out and broadcasted and like floating around so that they'll show up in list nodes. But you have to have a, in order to show up in list nodes, you have to have an open channel that's been broadcast and announced, which means that the funding transaction is at a depth of 6. So what are we doing here? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open up 2 channels, one from 1 to 2, one from 2 to 3. And then I'm going to sync the funding transactions down to like 10 or something so that they'll send out a notification, or they'll send out their announcement signatures to all the nodes via gossip. And that way, then finally, the list nodes will have things in it. Okay, so in order to make that happen, I need to fund a channel. I think I can just use my old fund channel. There we go. Okay, cool. Oh no, I have to connect to them first, and then I can fund the channel. Okay, so that means that funding transaction between L1 and L2 has been created. I need to connect to L3, but I don't know what their user ID is or what their connection info is. So I can get their info. They're on port 7373, and that's their ID. So now L2 can connect to them. Localhost 7373. Cool. And then L2 can fund channel with them. Oops. For, I don't know, how big should we make this channel? Let's make it 0.02 BTC, and I have to give it a fee rate. Cool. Okay, so now if we check our mempool, there's 2 in there. Now we should generate a block. Cool. They're gone, but they're not locked in yet. They haven't been announced. Actually, let's do L3 CLS peers. So it's locked in. It's locked, which means it's been announced. We do locks after it's been announced, but we haven't exchanged I'm trying to see if we see anything about having sent the announcements out yet. I don't think we actually record it, but the spec says that you can't send the announcement signatures until the funding transaction is 6 deep, and it's not yet. Cool. So it's locked in and it's functional, and you can send money down it, but no one will know about your node on the network until we sync it 6 deep. So I'm going to just go ahead and generate 10 for good measure. So that shouldn't change anything on this. This should be the same, but what it should do is, let's see, get info. So I want to check, I'm checking to see how deep the block height is. Okay. And then this one's block height is 38. So the short channel ID tells you what block number the funding transaction got mined in. I should say mined. I like to say buried, but the real word is mined. So this one was buried or mined at 738. And we're currently at 748. So in theory, do we have anything in list nodes? Haha. Okay, that's cool. So we do have stuff in list nodes. We have all 3 of us. Look at that. We can see all 3 of them, which is cool. So L1 doesn't have any connection or doesn't know about L3, right? Hang on, let me remind myself what L3 is. What their ID is, JQ ID, right? So this is the ID from L3. And if you haven't used JQ before, it's just like a way of getting data out of JSON on the command line. Okay, so this is L3. We can see that it knows about it in nodes, but it's not connected to it. So if I do L1 CLI list peers, the only thing that'll show up is this one, which is L2. Cool. Okay, so basically what happened is we created a little network, and then we let L1 know about L3 through gossip by having L2 and L3 open a channel and then create announcement signatures and broadcast them over gossip so that L1 knows about them. Cool. Okay. Anyways, so this is great because this means that we now have test data for the for the plugin that we're writing. Cool. Okay, so let's get back to writing our plugin. Let me check to make sure that these actually list. I'm pretty sure these are all IPv4. I think I can exit out of this too now. Yeah, I'll just exit. That's fine. Cool. So if I do, what did I want to check? I wanted to check that they listed IPv4, right? So let's do list nodes. Oh, none of them have addresses. Oh, that might be a problem. Oh, that's going to be a problem. Our script is not going to work on these guys because they don't have addresses. Why do they not have addresses? That's a great question. We know what their addresses are, but if they don't show up in this, that's not really useful to us. Okay, that's cool. Well, so much for that. Let's keep going. Cool. So we've done that. We filtered out the nodes we can't connect to. So now we have all the IPv4 nodes in theory. I can run this on the testnet thing and kind of show how that looks. Have to have IPv4. Right. So we did that. Can't be loopback address. Basically, okay, cool. So I can do this in a second. But I have to do this somewhere. Yeah. Basically, some nodes like set up their like broadcast thing so that they some nodes when they broadcast, like, so my nodes clearly aren't broadcasting anything, like they're not broadcasting an address. I might be a setting on the thing that I'd have to go fix. Yeah, I don't think they're broadcasting an address. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix that later and figure out how to make them do that, but or why they're not. But some nodes on the network, especially on testnet, in their address, they have their address set to 127, like the loopback, which is fine, but it's not very useful for us because we can't connect to them. So basically, when we're going through who we're connecting to, we should just like filter those out because that's not. Or they might also be doing this one, which is the loopback. So this is like loopback. And this one is localhost, which maybe is the same thing. I think they're different. Don't quote me on that. Anyways, okay. So we want to filter that they're not like a local address, basically. Okay. So basically, now we're just gonna go through, and what I wanted to do is, so the whole point of this is to show off like notifications, right? Or like command line notifications. So plugin notify message. You have to have the requests because the way that would it be interesting for me to talk about how these things work at like the actual like plumbing like level of how they work so that it gets from the plugin back to the command line, because that's kind of cool. Anyways, but I'll finish this up really quickly here if I can. Anyways, so like basically I'm gonna go through each of the nodes. I'm going to say attempting connect with my node ID. And then, let's filter it out if it doesn't. So if, so I need to get the address out, right? So I can do something similar that I did here. Let's see, so adder type, let's see, how do I do this? Okay, so I want adder for adder and node addresses. Oops. If adder type is IPv4, So this will give me a list, and then I'm just gonna take the first one, and I know there's already something in there because we ascertained that there had to be one before we added it to this list up here, so that's fine. This probably will be, this should work okay. So the address, it'll be this. If address, oh man, I have to remember what the, boy, that did not help me at all, did it? This one? No. This, oops. Sorry. I'm gonna SSH into my box. It's got, oh, that's the wrong one. I want list nodes, not list peers. Okay, cool. Sorry, I just wanted to check what this data structure looked like because I couldn't remember. So if the address is in this, then we will, let's notify that we're skipping. Skipping. I'll tell them what node we're skipping. Loopback address. I don't know if the alias is useful. I don't know. It'll look nicer or more fun. Okay, and then we should continue the loop. And then we're actually going to attempt to connect with it. So then we're going to do connect equals plugin RPC connect to node ID, address, port. Cool. And then this might fail on us for like RPC thing. Let's see. It's so this might fail because the peer is weird. I think it's accept. Yeah, RPC error, I think is the one. Whatever. I don't think I need that. I can just do RPC error. Let's let somebody know that it failed. Just unable to connect with. Okay, and if we actually did it, let's tell them what features they offer. Cool. It's up here probably. Quest connected to this features. Node alias con. I think it's just like features. So this connection thing that gets returned will be the same as when, hang on, I'm going to make this big and hop back to where we were doing connection stuff. Here. Okay, so if you look here, what I did connect, it returns a JSON struct that's got an ID and features in it. So what I'm doing here is I'm capturing that JSON as con, and then I want to go ahead and print it out as like, hey, just tell me what their features are. Cool. Okay. I need to add this line at the bottom to actually make the plugin run. Oops. I'm gonna quit that. I don't need it so you can see this better. Okay. So let's check and see, find all the nodes on the network, filter the ones I can't connect to, ignore everything that's loopback, but let me know you're ignoring it. We could do something kind of fancy here at the bottom, right? Where we do plugin notify. What was the other one? I think it's progress. And do how many we've done. I know there's like other ways to do this. And new the count out of how many we're doing, the length of nodes IPv4. Yeah, so this will like update a progress bar with how far we've gotten. Okay, so in theory, this should work fine. I know from experience that this is going to have all kinds of horrible problems because of this connection thing hangs, but cool. Okay, so this isn't going to be very exciting at all on, oh, then we can return, oops. And then at the end, we just return a string that's like, hey, connected to done trying to connect. So I know from experience. Oh, so one thing when you're making a new plugin is that you always have to change mod it to be executable. So this is connection test. Test. So now it'll be. So now it's executable. It's like bright green. Cool. So that means that I can load it for this guy. Plugin start. It always needs like an absolute path. What was it called? Test.py. I think that'll work. Okay, cool. So you can see that it's now running and active here. It's really exciting. So now I do lightning CLI. What is it? Connectify. Right. Okay. So why did it immediately jump to the end and didn't send me any notifications? How rude. Reason that it did that is because it can't. There aren't, right, as we saw earlier with our like test node, test set, there aren't any nodes that have addresses, right? So that's not going to do us anything. Okay, so what I want to do is, did I just delete stuff? I might have, yeah, okay. So what I want to do is I want to have this run on, let's see if, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to like really hackily, so now I'm on my my machine that's got my testnet, that's the right one, yes, my testnet node running. This guy's got a lot of peers attached to him. He's like a big guy, but it's testnet, so whatever. And I wanted to, right, okay, so quit connectify. Okay. All right, let's see. Let me make sure I've got all this stuff in here. Sometimes I forget things and it falls apart on me. Okay, quit. Okay, so I need to change mod. CLI, plugin, start, connectify, defy.py. Cool, now it's running. So now I can go lightning CLI. Cool, and it's attempting to connect. It's probably gonna hang because, yeah. Did I misspell attempting again? I totally misspelled attempting. Cool. Cool. Okay, so I think like the other thing you can do with this is, I've done this before, and hang on, let me check really fast the previous version that I did on this that has a way to handle these hangs. I think it's hacky, like really hacky, but okay, I can use an executor, I think, to time these out. It's probably a better way to do this than this, but I don't, Python's not like, cool. So anyways, but you can see it's like putting up a notification, and then if it ever attempts, finally connects this, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it and attempt. It'd be more exciting if it actually like went through a couple, right? Let's try, hang on, let me pull up my cheat sheet here. This one, okay. There it is, okay. So instead of this, what we're gonna do is we're going to add it to a future. executor submit rpc.connect. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. Thought it was the same thing. And then I think I want another try. Do I want another try? Or is this all the same thing? I put it all in the same try. I put it up here. And then try futu.result. I guess we'll wait like 3 seconds. That seems like long enough. I think that this will be con then. Con becomes here. And then this should be this, but we could also get a timeout error. Cool. Oh, I have to import RPC. Oh, that's good. Whoops. I think that's right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That should do it. Hopefully, I think. Oh, so basically I'm using a timeout. So I like run it on a different thread and then I time the thread out so that we don't get stuck waiting for all these connections. I think that'll be fine though. Okay. And then we loop and then we're done. So I need to stop this one. Connectify.py and then restart it. And then we draw connectify. No, sorry. Really, that works? No. Ha 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 ha. Where is executor? Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. Cool. So I have to reload it again. No. RPC is not defined. Okay, one more time. There. Oh, that's right. It's because it's attached to plugin. That should be good. Stop. Does that work? Oh no. Okay, anyways, I'll have to figure this out. Let's see. It says raise timeout error. Results of error while processing. I think I wanted it to do that. I think it did what I asked, but I didn't catch it correctly. I don't know why. This should have caught it here. I don't know what happened. Okay, I'll have to go debug my Python later. But I think that's most of time. Did anyone have any questions that wanted to do? Cool. Okay, if not, I hope everyone checks out the latest and greatest version of C Lightning. If you've got questions about stuff or want help working on things, we hang out in pound C Lightning, C-Lightning on Freenode IRC. Yeah, okay, great. Cool.